Where is Tiffany Stratton? It's a question in which I've been asking about. It's a question in which a lot of people have been asking about. There's a wild theory that was going around behind her absence, and now we actually know the true, legit reason, and it makes a ton more sense. Tiffany Stratton has been off of WWE television since November. Once she was squashed by Jade Cargill, losing the women's championship at Saturday night's main event. It was the end of Tiffy time as our women's champion. It was the end of the constant and what seemed like a never-ending feud between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. And finally, they pulled the trigger. They had Tiffany lose the championship to Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill went on and started her run, which has been lackluster as women's champion. And Tiffany Stratton has been off of TV ever since. There was some people who thought that Tiffy just took some time off after being a workhorse champion in WWE. Some thought that there may be more of a reason behind it. There was a theory that was started by Dave Scheer, who stated, and if you're wondering, who the hell is Dave Scheer? Well, he's the guy that technically owns PW Insider, a real gem. And he threw out a theory that Triple H had took her off TV to give her time off and her character a rest before having her return either ahead of the Royal Rumble or before the Royal Rumble. And that theory is absolutely wrong. You don't keep a star like Tiffany Stratton off the TV for 2 months, maybe a month, but not 2 months there, Dave. And then another Dave Meltzer. He came out with a report, and he's the one that told us the legit reason. Where is Tiffany Stratton and why is she off television? According to Uncle Dave in this week's Observer newsletter, he reported that Tiffany Stratton, Tiffy Time, is off TV right now due to a legitimate injury. Now, Uncle Dave did not state what the injury is, the severity of the injury, how long she's expected to be off TV, when did she suffer the injury, was this something that she was working with, was this something that suffered in the Jade Cargill match? Like, there was no background or details to this other than, hey, she's out, right? And you got to love those one-liners in the Observer, but still, it does give clarity to the situation. Now, with that being said, me being the optimist, me being the hopeful one, I think if you look at it like this makes a little bit more sense, because I could go over the top and say, oh, well, Tiffany Stratton is injured and she's going to be out for a year, right? Like, I could go way over the top, and I'm sure some people will. I'm not going to do that, obviously, because if you just kind of look at the nature of the situation, with it being such a hush-hush situation, no one really knowing about it, that means, well, she didn't go to Birmingham and get surgery or anything like that. It was probably something in which she was dealing with. They knew, hey, when Tiffy drops the championship to Jade, she's going to take some time off. Good for her. Thank you for all your contributions and your hard work. Take your time off, heal up, do some rehab, and then come Mania season, we'll get things rolling with you again. Like, I can see that 100%. Also, there was no spot that, in the Jade Cargill match of, oh my gosh, that's when she got injured. That Jade Cargill match, no one did anything wrong in that match. If you look at the layout of it, everything in that match was deliberate. Everything in that match was for a reason, because they wanted to make it very, very clear this is a new Jade Cargill. This is a different era for Jade Cargill. And at this time in her career, Tiffany Stratton cannot compete with this level of Jade Cargill. That's what that win told me for Jade Cargill. And I think they made the absolute right call with it. They needed to establish Jade Cargill as a monster. They needed to establish Jade Cargill as a new heel who you have to take seriously, or she will crush all of your heroes, right? She was coming off of a multiple month feud with Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton, to her credit and to the booking of them, they kept her strong until the bitter end. They had her sell a knee injury going into that match. Now, I know there's going to be some theory and speculation that, hey, Tiffany Stratton had actually dealt with a legitimate knee injury and they worked it into storyline. And that could be absolutely the case. Regardless, it was not an injury that prevented her from wrestling, because she did go out there and work like a 6-minute match against Jade Cargill, which was one-sided. I mean, she got beat up pretty badly by Jade Cargill. And the reason they did that was because of two reasons. Number one, they already had a built-in storyline reason to protect Tiffany Stratton. Hey, this woman is not 100%, but look at the babyface fighting champion that she is, going out there and defending her championship regardless of her health. Wow, what a champion, what a star, what a courage, right? So that was their mentality. And then you had the mentality of Jade Cargill of, okay, you are establishing her as the next big thing in terms of Jade Cargill as a babyface was really good. Jade Cargill as a heel is unstoppable. She's a monster. She's an unstoppable force, right? And that's what they told you in the build up to that, because once Jade switched heel, the intensity rose again. And that is when it really, really picked up for Jade Cargill. And you could see the slow decline of Tiffany Stratton. And you had the feeling of Tiffany, no matter how good she is, 100%, she cannot match, she cannot compete, she cannot stand up to the force that is Jade Cargill. That's the story they were telling. That's the story that they told. And that's the story in which they delivered. And that's the story that everyone bought into. That is what they had to do with Jade Cargill, because you had Tiffany beat her at SummerSlam. You had them go to a no contest on SmackDown. You had them work a triple threat match with Nia Jax. That was one of the worst matches in WWE in 2025, regardless of gender. It was a really bad match. And so going into it, the fourth, the final, the moment is here. You just have to pull the trigger. You have to put the championship on Jade Cargill. The heel turn ahead of time cemented the fact, the belief, the hope, the speculation that there would be a title change at Saturday night's main event. That's what WWE did. That's what WWE had to do, because you could not go in there and have Jade Cargill come up short for a fourth time. All the momentum, all of the time, the effort into her run the year prior and into 2025 would have been wasted. It would have been a wasted opportunity for Jade Cargill. It would have been a wasted opportunity for the WWE fans. You had to do it. You had no other choice. And WWE, to their credit, thankfully saw that, understood that, and went with that. And that is why Jade Cargill became the women's champion in 2025. So I look forward to seeing Tiffany Stratton back. I look forward to seeing what WWE ends up doing with Tiffany Stratton once she's back on television. And I cannot wait to see what 2026 has in store for Tiffany Stratton.